Today I've spent all day working on Christmas prep for my Etsy shop. I really have to start earlier. I won't have anything ready to go for that, but I needed a break from all the Christmas stuff in August, and I wanted to work on some word phrases, really just single words that are encouraging and inspiring, just ones I like to add to journals or to tags. This was on my mind, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and film it as I go here. So what I did, let me pull a few of these up, and you can kind of see them here, is I just took all kinds of words that are encouraging or inspiring, like I said, sweet and kindness, joyful, imagine, and I did it on my computer. I just went over and printed out. I had, this is cream color cardstock, and I set it up in 3 columns, and I just thought of all kinds of words that I wanted to put on there that I thought I would be useful for me as I'm journaling. It's always nice to add a little word to your journals or tags. So anyhow, I went through and did that. Like I said, I used 3 columns. The font that I use for these is the Bodoni, I said Bodoni 72 old style, but like a Bookman old style would work good for this as well. And then I used the font size 17. But one thing I did to make this look more kind of in a bookish, quotish kind of way was I put a space between each letter as I typed it out. So I do G space, R space, put a space between each letter as I did it. And I like the outcome of that. And then between each one here, I wanted to have enough where I could rip it or cut it. So I just did 3 spaces, or 3 returns, I mean, in between each one. And that seemed to be enough room to work with and cut with or rip with. So that's what I did with those. If you don't want to use your computer, another thing you can do if you want to make some handmade ones is just go through your stamp sets and find just single words. I just pulled out 3 of them here: blessed, loved, and happy. You can kind of see they're kind of the same, about the same size as I'm going through. So just another idea. But I've pulled out all the goodies. I've got some washi tape and some little die cuts, tiny buttons, my scissors, of course, and then I have these different brads. Like this one has a little miniature heart, flowers. I've got some butterflies. I really tried to stay in this time, you know, if you guys know me, I love using pastels and blues and pinks and those, but I do also really like antique, and so I thought, well, today I'm going to kind of stick with that. So some of these I couldn't use for that, but anyhow, we can even take these ones that are a little bit pastel-y and add ink to them and make them work for this project too. I've even got some stickers here that we can do the same thing too. If we wanted, we could ink over these and make them a little bit darker. So they could work in this too. I just thought these little journal word embellishments would be great to have on hand. So let me push these over and I'll show you just a couple of ways that I made these. Some of these I went ahead and ripped. So let me show you the rip part first. I just took a ruler. This is just a wooden ruler, but it does have the metal edge on this side. I'm just going to use this ruler to rip this apart. Of course, you don't have to use a ruler, but I kind of want a semi-straight line for this. So there's that. Line it up. And I'll hold it underneath. Just kind of line it up and start giving it a rip. Just going to do sparkle for now. Put a tear here and then a tear on this side and see what we have. Looks like I need to take this end off just a wee bit. It's a little bit longer. And the walnut stain. And then I'm just going to use a sponge and put this, sponge it all the way around. I'm also going to just kind of dab the top of this a little bit. There we go. I like that. move that out of the way. And then I know most of my papers are usually, like I said, the pastel colors, but I do have a little variety that I pulled out here of more of the antique-ish kind of colors that I've been using for these. This paper right here has got a little sparkle in it since our word is sparkle. Maybe we'll just use that one. Alright, so we've got that. I need to come about at least this far. Give it a snip so I know how far to come. Of course, now I've got you pulled in here way too far, but that's alright. We'll figure it out. Right. So basically what I'm doing is I'm cutting out each word either by tearing it or cutting it. I'm inking around the edges. I'm finding my base paper that I want for it. Let's straighten this edge up. So I'm not going to rip this one. I'm just going to leave it. And then I'm going to have the word on top of it. So I think for this one I do want some lace behind it. So I'm going to cut just a small section of this. And this lace, let me make sure I got it long enough. This lace is really whiter, more white than I want. Push this back to the side. So what I'm going to do is ink it up a little bit with the same distress ink. Because I really don't want it that bright. So I'm just going to use my sponge and just get a little bit of brown on there. So it's not going to turn it totally brown, but it is going to give it just a little bit softer look for what I'm after. Looks like I need a little more there on the edge. Okay. Move all that out of the way, and then we're back to this. So whatever color you might be using, just pull out your inks and you can ink up a nice white on that. All right, and I've got this too big, but I'll cut both of those down. And I think on this one, I'd like to put a couple hearts over here in the corner. And I've been using just the heart punch, and this is just a little scrap of craft cardstock. So there's that one, and I think from that little piece that I had left over from this same cream color, I'm going to punch one from that too. And those punches are getting hard. I may have to replace that one. I've got several different little heart ones, but that was the one that was close and handy, but I'm thinking that guy's about seen its last days. That's hard to push. All right. Let me ink the edges of these. Get them antique-ish looking. And that'll do. All right. So now I've just got some tacky glue I'm going to use and start putting all this together. On our base layer, but I'm going to move it a little bit to the right so I've got plenty of room. Not a whole lot. Just off center it a little bit to put those hearts on. Let's put the little cream colored one on first. And then our craft one. There we go. And because this says sparkle, it might be kind of fun to add a little bit of sparkle to it. Let's see, I've got a little, I've just got a little medicine cup full of these. Kind of holds it well. That would be kind of pretty. Let's put a little dot right in the middle, add a little sparkle to sparkle. And then I'm going to glue it on top of this, which maybe I should have done before I put that that on there in hindsight, but it's okay. We'll straighten it up. Kind of center it up. I'll trim up this side because I don't really want it that long. And then just to give it a little bit more texture here, I'm going to staple this right to that. Add one there. And then let's add one down here at the bottom. And so that's how that one turned out. It's really fun just to go through your stash and just find little bits and pieces that you have of things and put these together. Some buttons would be cute on some of these. You can imagine, well, you can't see that one. You know, just adding little bits and pieces, and then even taking some string and tying it to a bow, into a bow, and adding that would be cute. So just a fun way to add some wording to your journals. Of course, it's always easy to just go buy some things. Tim Holtz always have some amazing word things that you can add. But just to make your own sometimes is fun. Or maybe you've got scrapbooking you've done and you want your kids' names on some parts. Just go type it out yourself in a pretty font. And then it's fun to just have on hand to add. So now I guess this little playtime of something else other than Christmas is done for me today. But anyhow, so that's all for me today, but I hope you can believe that you have some sweet joy and kindness and a little bit of sparkle in your day. We'll see you next time. Bye.